to do it to his old team in the World Series. Lines the ball to center field. Varsho lays out.
Me, I got something to prove. I wanna lose.
Smith is in
something
the
to prove.
score.
You know that I wanna lose. Yeah, gonna leave this here. This one ain't gonna be that here. Yeah, that's too sincere. I don't really think I could be that clear. I'm gonna be right here, but y'all know that. Wanna feed my fist and hold me back. Y'all do that to hold me down. Karma is real and it's coming around.
Hernandez on the run with Pajes over his head. Runs him over. Makes the catch. Smith is a high fly ball to deep left field. It's got a chance. It is gone. It's Will Smith in Game 7. 0-2 pitch. Bounces one up the middle. Pitch to the man. Over to first to beat the champ. You gotta knock him out. The Dodgers stand tall and win back-to-back titles.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Take Me Out to the Video Game, a podcast about baseball video games. The MLB The Show 25 season is winding down. We're basically at the end point now. We got the 11th inning program, which is essentially the forever program. The other day, we've got a few things kind of coming up on the docket, but it's kind of slowing down. We're kind of gearing up for 26. We're going to quickly go over the things that have been coming out lately, the roadmap ahead, and then I have compiled a full wish list for 2026 and beyond. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. But really quick, let's get into the content first. So as you can see here, the 11th inning, which is essentially this year's version of the forever inning, it ends in 4,422 days and 21 hours at the time of recording this. You got the now and later packs that they promise, rewind packs, live series packs, boss packs, just basically a bunch of stuff that you already had, just making sure that you're getting it if you're picking up the game late. And then you'll be spinning that wheel for a while. We got these programs recently, 25 Finest with the Harper at the end. You got a James Wood in there. Dansby Swanson, Ben Rice, and Brian Abreu. We also got the first Blizzard Captain drop with Whitey Ford, Brian Roberts. And then we have the Retro Finest with Justin Turner, Gary Carter, Paul Goldschmidt, Gary Sheffield, and Andrew Miller. Again, you can see that these last two I haven't even started. That's how little motivated I am to start these. I'm kind of over 25 at this point. I'm kind of looking at the horizon for 26. We did get a player program with Lou Brock as well. Got some new Conquest maps. And you do get this free Thanksgiving turkey pack in there. Make sure to claim that if you haven't already. You get Finest Taylor Ward, his final Angels card, because he was already traded to the Orioles this offseason. Again, I'm kind of over it. Kind of waiting for next year. Trying to think if there's anything else in here we got to talk about. Taking a look at what's ahead, we do have the new multiplayer program on the 2nd with another Blizzard Captain, another new player program on the 5th, another Blizzard Captain program on the 9th, mini seasons on the 12th, and Blizzard Captain and Diamond Quest on the 19th. So they are slowly going to be rolling stuff out. I'll probably if there's anything like big, like, oh my god, we need that card, I'll cover it. Otherwise, I'll just kind of mention it in passing in some of the other content that I'm doing, because like I said, I'm kind of done with 2025 Diamond Dynasty. I am going to grind out the program to get the now and later packs. They did say something about now and later packs in a program, and something about in the scouting report. So I don't know if they rolled that out and I already opened it and forgot about it, or if they just haven't rolled that out yet. So we'll see how that goes. But all that aside, let's get into the wish list that I have for 2026 and beyond. So I do want to start this off with a little bit of transparency. First of all, most of my wish list for a Diamond Dynasty is going to be offline stuff, as I primarily play offline. Um, that said, I want to recognize upfront that online needs new modes and work as well. Even though I'm not part of the online player community or the person that plays online the most, I still am very advocate that the people who want to play online against other people deserve to have new modes, new ways to play, because as I will listen to people who play online talk about, events and BR getting stale and ranked is just kind of the same thing every year. So online needs something new as well. I'm not overlooking that. I just don't play it online enough to really be able to talk about it. So if you're listening to this SDS, which hopefully you are, I know I'm a smaller creator, but still hopefully they're listening. Just because I don't mention any specific things that I want for online doesn't mean it doesn't need to be addressed. The other thing that I want to say transparently upfront is that all of these things I have submitted in tickets to SDS over the course of the year, not necessarily as game bugs. They do have a section on there, if you didn't know, that you can submit a ticket of just general feedback where you can talk about things that you want implemented into the game. They are very receptive to those things, and that is honestly the best way to get your voice heard by SDS, because ultimately we know that they're very active on the socials. They're very active in watching creator videos, but we don't know how many of those they watch, how much they interact with. People like me are a dime a dozen online, so a lot of those things can slip through the cracks when it's just us talking about them. The best way to get your voice heard, if there's something that you really, really want in the game or something that you feel would make the game better or more enjoyable for you, the absolute best way to do that is to submit a ticket through their online ticket submission thing under feedback, which can be obtained by a quick Google search. But let's get into my wish list for 2026. I'll start with the general stuff. Number one in the general category is slow the power creep. Start rolling out 99s later in September/October rather than around the All-Star break. I know that there's going to be some people that disagree with this. I think All-Star should be capped at like 95. There's no reason to have 99s. Like, if you want to give like a 99 to the All-Star MVP and a 99 to the home run derby winner at the All-Star break, and make those cards harder to obtain, more like kind of like the live series stuff at the beginning of the year, and make those cards really through collections and the paywall and hard to obtain, I have no problem with that. But I think like the general release cards should be capped at around 95 at that point, and then we work up to the 99s in September, October. I just feel like there's some really fun builds that you can do early on with lower power creep cards, and once you start rolling all out 99s, even though the 99s are on a different level, those things ultimately become moot. And the pushback is, well, these won't be the best cards in the game at the All-Star break if they're 95s. Yes, they will, because the best cards in the game at that time, other than the few that you can obtain through collections, are 95s. Then those are essentially the best cards in the game. They're not going to be the meta cards for long, but they're still the best cards in the game at that time. Number two, and this one could be kind of tricky. I don't know if there's a mechanic for it, but it's simple. It's add PXP for fielding. There's a lot of feedback on the socials and stuff that it is far more easier to parallel and PXP up a pitcher than it is a hitter, and that is genuinely true. They did kind of supplement this a little bit this year with the double PXP at times, but that essentially doesn't really fix the problem. It just makes paralleling both pitchers and hitters easier at that point. But if you added PXP for fielding, this would also essentially give the hitters and the players that are in the field more stuff to earn PXP through. Like, you could do PXP for being involved in a double play, being involved in a putout, being involved in an assist, things like that. So PXP for fielding, if they could figure out a way to do it, I think would be a really cool thing to add to the game. Just adds more to Diamond Dynasty. Number 3 is a very personal one for me. I know that there's not a lot of call for this, but this is just something that I want, and that is bring back extra innings. If you don't know what extra innings was, it was basically kind of like what mini seasons is now. When they added mini seasons to the game, they took out extra innings for some reason. Extra innings was basically a way to play a 9 inning game against the CPU, but it was a created team in Diamond Dynasty, kind of like the mini seasons squads are. But when they added the mini seasons mode, they took that out for some reason, which I don't understand why they both can't exist, because one is 3 inning games and in a season structure, and one is just a solo 9 inning game. If you brought that back, I would play it all the time. I think that adds way more immersion when you're playing against CPU Diamond Dynasty created teams rather than you're just playing against live series teams. That's part of my thing. Like, I would rather play 9 inning games, if I'm being honest. I'm not a big fan of the 3 inning structure. I understand its importance to mini seasons and Conquest and Diamond Quest, because when you're grinding through those modes, you want to be a little bit quicker about it. But I also would like a way to grind 9 inning games against CPU created teams. So bring back extra innings, please. It was in the game as recently as 2021, taken out in 2022, and there was no reason for it to be taken out. Just bring it back, please. Number 4, also a kind of personal one for me. Add Black Eagles audio to team names. Obviously, that's the team that I like to use a lot. And well, this year, I might be doing a lot more kind of like created teams, things like that. It still would be cool to be able to do my created team that I've created and have that Black Eagles as audio rather than just have to have Eagles as the audio. So kind of just a minor thing for me. Number 5, and this is a kind of new one as of last night. I was watching the WPBL player draft. If you haven't already, you need to sign a deal with this league and get these cards in the game. A couple years ago, they added the women player models in both Road to the Show and in Diamond Dynasty with Toni Stone, and they really haven't done anything with it since. Toni Stone is still the only woman player in Diamond Dynasty. We have not seen the other 2 Negro League stars in the game yet. And this would just be really cool. Now that there is a professional women's baseball league, you need to find a way to get some of these cards in the game, because you have this ability to make these player models. Let's make the most of it and add them to the game. I know that there's a subset of fans that would absolutely hate this. There are people that would absolutely be against this. And frankly, I don't give a fuck. If you don't like the cards, just don't use them. But they have the technology to do this. I think it would be really cool for the growth of the game. So it's something that I think would be really cool if you add it. And finally, for general number 6, I have a new idea for a new offline mode, and it's kind of like an offline ranked. Again, it's play against CPU created teams, kind of like the idea of extra innings, but as you play through it, you advance in difficulty rating, kind of like you do in ranked. The better you play, the more you go up to veteran, all-star, legend, Hall of Fame, etc. If you start losing games, you get bumped back down. This could have its own rewards tier, and it would just be kind of really cool to be able to test your skills and see really where you are at playing against the CPU. And it would give people like me who don't play a lot online, but also wouldn't mind playing some online, better ways to practice and get better, and just kind of see where you rank in a competitive way, but against the CPU, but just watching those difficulties, knowing where you got to improve, knowing where that you're doing good, things like that. I think that would be a really cool mode, especially if it had its own rewards tier. Moving on to Diamond Quest. I only have one piece of feedback for this, and I want to preface it by saying Diamond Quest is actually a really cool idea. I look at this mode, I talked to Kenny over at KDJTV, who had a hand in creating the mode. I 100% see what they're going for with this mode, and I like the idea of it. It ended up not being something that really just wasn't for me, not because of the structure, but because of a lot of the stuff that you played in it were moments and showdowns, which is honestly 2 of my personal least favorite things to play. That's just a personal preference. I'm not going to advocate for showdown and moments to be taken out of this, because I understand a lot of people like showdowns and moments, and so that's kind of where it gets catered to. It's just, again, personal preference thing. But my one piece of feedback in that would be more actual games, just so that people like me who like to actually play the games, all the Conquest and mini seasons, can get some more enjoyment out of that as well. Conquest, again, only one piece of feedback here. Add legends and flashbacks to CPU teams for more immersion. Now, they started to do that actually in the aforementioned Diamond Quest this year, where you would see, if you were playing the Red Sox in a Diamond Quest, you would see cards like Ted Williams, Jason Varitek, etc. on those teams. I think that needs to be a thing. Like when I go into a Conquest game or a play versus CPU game for that matter, and I queue up against the Orioles, and it's just their entire live series team, it kind of defeats the purpose. Like, I have a team of created legends, current players, flashbacks, what have you, and to just see a current live series roster that I'm playing against, it kind of takes me out of the whole like immersion of what Diamond Dynasty is supposed to be. So like, once they have a Gunnar Henderson card that's better than the live series card, replace it. Once you have a Cal Ripken card that's better than either of those cards, then Gunnar gets replaced with Cal. Once you have a Jim Palmer card, someone like Kyle Bradish would be replaced with that. Things of that nature. I think just adding the Legends and Flashbacks cards into the CPU controlled teams as they're released over the course of the year would not only keep the game fresh, but it would just add more immersion to Diamond Dynasty. Going on to mini seasons, I have a few for this one, as like mini seasons is the biggest thing that I play. So this is where I actually have a few more suggestions. Going off of what I said earlier, number one, and being the psychopath that would rather play a 9-inning game than a 3-inning game, I would like to see them add a toggle at the beginning when you start a mini season to select the number of innings, where it could be anything from 3 to 5 to 6 to 9, somewhere in that range. I believe it's I'm blanking on the game, Super Mega Baseball, that has, when you start a franchise, you can select the number of innings that a game is played. I think it's 3, 5, 7, or 9 are the number of innings that you can choose. Something like this, where, like, if I wanted to do a full-fledged mini season and play 9-inning games, yes, I'm the psychopath that would do that. Just give me a toggle to be able to do that. And then the people that want to keep it at 3 innings can keep it at 3 innings, and maybe have different reward tiers based on how many innings you choose. I know that this is a little bit maybe too innovative. I don't know, but I think it would be something really cool, because, like I said, I would definitely be the psychopath who would choose 9-inning games on every mini season. Number two is league expansion to Australia and Antarctica. The commentators have talked about this in every single mini season I have played from the beginning of mini seasons inceptions 3 years ago, and 3 years later, it is still not in the game. It's still Australia and Antarctica still aren't there. If you're gonna do it, just do it because I think it would be really cool. Obviously, you'd have to restructure the number of games in a mini season, things like that. But again, as someone that really likes the idea of mini seasons within Diamond Dynasty, it's something that I would definitely like to see. Number three is make boss rewards repeatable and sellable, like in Diamond Quest. For example, the Signature Series Johan Santana that you get from the Signature Series Diamond Quest. If you made him repeatable and sellable, I would play that mini season probably 100 times and sell 99 of the Johan Santanas, keep one for myself. They made it this year so that Diamond Quest was kind of that grindable mode where you could grind, you could get these cards, and then you could sell them on the open market. I would like to see that with other modes, because as someone that doesn't like to play Diamond Quest, I was using a lot of my stubs to buy the Diamond Quest cards because I still wanted those cards. I know that there are a lot of people that don't like mini seasons, and I would be gladly one of those people that repeat grinds mini seasons to get those cards on the market for those people who don't like to play mini seasons to be able to buy those cards, at least for collections and things like that. So I think that that would be a really cool way to go about it, just simply because there are people that don't like to play mini seasons, but you're still going to need those cards for collections and so on and so forth. So that's my mini seasons wish list. Showdown, basically same thing I just said. I've only got one suggestion, and that's make the boss rewards repeatable and sellable, because again, I'm a person who does not like playing Showdown. If I could just grind mini season and then use those stubs to buy the boss cards from Showdown for collections and things like that, absolutely do it. 100%. I think if they're going to do it with Diamond Quest and make those rewards repeatable and sellable, it's only fair that you do that with mini seasons and Showdown as well. And then finally, play versus CPU. The two suggestions that I have for this are already things I talked about. I just want to re-highlight them again. Adding legends and flashbacks to CPU teams for more immersion. We talked about that before. And then finally, the last thing, I've said it before, I'll say it again, bring back extra innings, please, for the love of me. I do not understand why mini seasons and extra innings cannot exist side by side. That's really it for me. A lot of these don't necessarily come because of gameplay or wanting more rewards or any of that type of shit. A lot of this for me is to just make Diamond Dynasty more immersive, because again, like when I go into a conquest, a play versus CPU type thing, I bring this Diamond Dynasty created squad up against a live series team, and immediately I'm like, well, this doesn't feel like anything spectacular. Mini seasons more so feels like the mode where the created teams are going up against each other, and I really like that. But those are only 3-inning games, which fine. I'd still like to be able to do that in 9-inning games, whether it's also in mini seasons or whether it's through bringing extra innings back, especially this year when I'm going to be, like I've said, doing a lot of different team builds and different strategy things to create content for you guys. The different types of teams I can go up against with my team builds would just make things more immersive and fun. That's my biggest thing, is like, that's why I play a lot of franchise and a lot of Road to the Show. I love being immersed in the baseball experience, and I understand that Diamond Dynasty is not necessarily the place for that, and I understand the aspects of online and competitive play, but as they have these offline modes for a reason, and as an offline player, immersion is key for me. So like, that's where my list of things really goes more towards immersion. Please let me know in the comments what you would like to see in MLB The Show 26 and beyond. Obviously, some of these things, they may not roll out next year. They may roll out next year. They may never roll them out. We don't know. But let me know in the comments what you think. If I think that what you're talking about is worthy enough, I will put it in a later video. We'll talk about it. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, as we're trying to grow things here. Helps us out a ton. Remember that we are sponsored by W Energy, a clean burning alternative to big energy caffeine with no artificial colors or dyes, no artificial flavors. Everything is 100% natural. The caffeine is made with coffee bean extract. It is absolutely worth your time. It's what keeps me going on these long days when I'm recording, editing, doing research, and pulling these 12 to 14 hour days to make these videos for you guys. W is a huge part of what keeps me awake and energized and focused and in. So please check them out, w.gg. Use promo code STRIKE4 for 10% off your order of tubs, shakers, and merch. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you on the next one.